And we are back from that commercial break. You're still tuned into Culture Daily, coming to you on 3 Music TV and Plus 89.9 FM. This is Unpacking. We've done about an hour on the show already, and so it's time to have a conversation with Bennet Otoo from Yango. I did mention earlier on Traffic Ride that Traffic Ride is brought to you by Yango. But let's know more about Yango. For those who do not know, this is the time to pull out your phones and search Yango. Whether you're using an Android or an Apple product, you can find it on there. Let's get into the conversation. Hi, Bennet.
Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you doing?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm fine. I'm super.
PRO duties this morning. But I'm sure you're used to the early mornings, so you know.
Well, the job is the job.
It is the job, definitely. Now, let's talk about Yango, right? Yango in Ghana and Yango in Accra. But first, looking at Yango in Accra, right? Yeah. I understand that, it's not everywhere now that Yango can be found, even though you've been operating for, about 5 years now.
Exactly.
But let's run through, the whole 5 years of Yango being in Ghana.
Well, good morning to all your viewers. Yango is an international tech company that has been in Ghana for 5 years, as you said. Currently, we've tried to master the art of ride-hailing. So we've started with Accra. Today, in almost every part of Accra, you could find a Yango. You can request for a Yango. The reason why we've not probably gone into other cities at the moment is that we need to understand the terrain, because the dynamics in Accra are different from the dynamics in, let's say, Cape Coast or Kumasi.
Right.
So we want to understand the market very well. We want to understand the dynamics of certain locations, the restrictions and everything before we get there. So we keep investing in technology. We're innovating to be able to reach the other cities as well. So very, very soon, you'd start hearing good
Yango
news
will
about
be Ghana wide.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But what does it take if you're studying a terrain? What does it take, aside the technology that you mentioned?
For us, we really like to invest a lot, as you said, in technology, but we also need to understudy the market, to do a lot of surveys, to ask,
that is viable.
To ask questions.
Okay.
Check out the road networks, check out the weather conditions and everything that affects the car, the driver, the passenger, everything. We need to understand this fully before we enter into such things.
Okay. So it's a promise. Bennet is making a promise here
very soon.
For those who don't have Yango in their cities or towns, very, very soon, Yango is going to be there, right?
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Now let's talk about, how you've been able to thrive, right? Because Yango may be one of the youngest ride-hailing services compared to the others, right?
Yes.
How has thriving been for you? No competition, but yes competition. You understand what I mean?
Exactly. Well, I must confess, we're a company that believes in impact, and I think impact has driven us to the point where we are today, where we've become widely known in Ghana, in Africa, and over the world. When I say impact, I'm talking about different stakeholders in the value chain, right? So we have the drivers who we sort of are providing income generating opportunities for to be able to take care of their daily needs. If I'm to give examples, we have drivers that started driving on the Yango app, and today they own their own cars. They are fleet partners.
That's nice.
Yeah. Some have gone through school, through driving on Yango. They've been able to pay themselves through school. Some are taking care of their families, build houses, establish other businesses, right? On the other side as well, we have what we call the partners. These are those who manage the individual drivers, right? So these partners as well, we've been able to empower them, enable them to become entrepreneurs, right? So through financial support from partners, from other financial institutions, we've been able to empower them to acquire vehicles that they use to manage or execute their day-to-day business. Then on the rider side as well, we provide safety, affordability, comfort as well, convenience as well. In the past, you need to go stand at the junction or walk a very long distance to be able to say hi taxi, and then you get in it. If you leave your phone in the taxi, you're not going to get it back. But today, through ride-hailing services like Yango, we've been able to provide that kind of security that hey, if you leave anything in the car, you can just go on the app and you can find the driver's number plates, the driver's name. These days in our in our app, you can find the driver's image and everything. Everything is there, right? So when I talk about impact, I am talking about all of these things plus the added advantage of us really caring for the needs of Ghanaians. Why do I say this? We've been able to execute a couple of CSR projects that have impacted the lives of many people. When we talk about education, we talk about even the creative.
We'll come to every project that Yango has been on top of, right? Because we see that Yango is literally everywhere, at events and stuff. So we'll come to that. There are two things that you mentioned that I want to speak on, right? The drivers graduating from just drivers to becoming fleet partners, right? What does it take for one to get there, or even to become a Yango driver? The onboarding process. How does that work? Just for someone who is out there who wants to, hop on Yango as a driver.
Okay, I mean it's fairly simple. All you need to do is to fulfill the basic requirements. So number one, in every country, in every dispensation, once you want to drive, whether it's your private car or it's a commercial vehicle, you need to have a driver's license. You need to be cleared of any criminal activity, right, as well. So we have our own checks that we do. But then if you want to become a driver, simply go on the Yango app. You reach to support on the app, and then you just tell them you want to become a driver. And then once you come to our hub and you fulfill all the requirements, like you're given the clearance to go. If you want to become a partner as well, you go through the same process. You go to support in the app, or you can walk to our office. I mean, we have a hub here in Accra.
Where's that located?
It's at Nat Heights at Ridge.
Okay.
Yeah. You just walk into the office, you speak to our support team, and then you'll be onboarded. Once you fulfill all the necessary requirements, you'll be onboarded.
You'll be onboarded.
Yeah.
Okay. Now moving from you've spoken about the onboarding, right?
Yeah.
So moving from being a driver to a fleet partner, how does that work?
Well, I mean, fleet partners are sort of managers, right? So they have like a couple of vehicles that they manage, right? So they manage these drivers. So I mean, just to clear the air a bit, so Yango doesn't have drivers.
Right.
Yeah, we don't have drivers. We provide the technology. We provide the app, the security, the safety features, all the other innovative ideas, the technology that these drivers and fleet partners use, right? So we empower these fleet partners to become entrepreneurs, to purchase vehicles and everything, and then they acquire the drivers.
Okay.
And then the drivers utilize the technology that we provided to be able to fend for themselves.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, the second thing you mentioned that I wanted to come to was, the fact that the possibility of people leaving their phones or maybe their very treasured items in the cars and getting it back. Are there cases where people don't get their phones or, whatever they left in the car back, maybe their bag, their purse, and in those cases, how are these things handled? Just so that people are sure, and are comfortable that, oh yeah, when I leave my things, because I hear stories, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes where people, leave their things and you call the driver and call into posterity. Like you never, you never get it back. So yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, safety is a big concern, and all of these things fall under that category. I mean, I'm confident enough to say that maybe, if not 100%, 99.99999% of the time, when you leave an item in a Yango, you're sure to get it back.
Right.
I'm saying this because in the app, you get to see, if you open your Yango app and you request a ride, first off, you get to see the car, the number plate. You get to see the contact number of the driver.
Yeah.
And these days, when you take the contact number to MTN, to any mobile service provider, they can tell you exactly who owns this number because of the Ghana cards, because everything is linked these days.
Okay.
Apart from that, if you leave anything in a vehicle and you call the driver and it's switched off or you can't reach the driver, all you need to do is to come to the Yango office.
Okay. We
have the details of these drivers. We know where they live. We know.
Yes.
That's
nice.
I mean, because before you onboard to become a driver, we need to do background checks. We take all your details and make sure that you're a legit person.
Yeah.
So if along the way you decide as a driver to go do your own thing, we know how to find you.
Right.
I mean, and there are punishments to these things.
There should be.
Yeah, there are lots of punishments to these things. I mean, if you fault any of the rules, the safety rules, we have certain restrictions that we offer to these things.
Nice.
Yeah. So rest assured, once you leave anything in the Yango, if you cannot read the driver, just come to our hub or report in the support.
Okay.
In the support.
Now, in talking about safety,
Yeah.
everybody, has to be safe, right? The driver and the passenger is really, really important, right?
Yeah.
So let's talk about safety.
Yeah.
You know, if you can drop some safety gems, that would be fine for both, you know, driver and passenger, you know, because I understand that most of the time we look at it just from the passenger angle, but sometimes the drivers are also exposed to, you know, some very rude or very extremely dangerous people, if I can put it that way, because we've also had instances where cars are snatched, drivers are beaten, you know, all of these things. So let's look at safety both ways.
Okay, so let me first speak to the common one, the rider, the passenger, right? Today, Yango is investing a lot in diverse technologies that help both the rider and the driver. But when we look at the rider side, the passenger side, we have what we call the route monitoring, right? So today, if you request for Yango, you can share your ride with everybody in your contact list for them to know exactly what car you are in, the number plate of the car, the driver's name, the exact route you're taking.
Which is a good addition, really, really good addition.
The driver's name, the route you're taking, and then in real time, these people get to see where you're passing. So if you said you were going to Jolu, for instance, and then they are following the ride and they realize you are now somewhere Kokomlimle, they can reach out to you and ask you what's happening. And then if they cannot reach out to you because something has happened along the way, now they themselves can contact us or contact support. Right. We also have what we call the safety center, where we have the SOS button in case of any disturbances in the ride. If you have like an argument with the driver, if you feel attacked, if you feel threatened in any way, you just go to the app, SOS button, you click it, and then it's linked to so many security agencies. So you can contact the police, all of that in the app.
That's nice.
Instantly, yes. Once you click on the SOS button, it takes you there. Now, the support in the app as well, once you click on support, there's a 24-hour, there are people that are monitoring these things in real time. So once you click on support and you request for support, straight away, you get the support from these guys. Apart from all of these, we have the driver photo check, right, as I mentioned. So now you get to see the face of the driver.
Let's talk about that briefly, right? Because sometimes you see that there's a different photo displayed, and then when the person comes, it's a different person.
Yeah, so regularly, we have the system where we get to check who's driving what. So for instance, you started off a year ago and you posted it, you gave us a certain picture of you. That's what is in the app, right? Regularly, at regular intervals, we ask these drivers to take a selfie and upload. And then we compare that selfie with what is on your driver's license. So, and every driver's license can only be used for one registered Yango car at a time. So if you want to drive another car, if you're changing your car, then you need to sort of re-register yourself into the other car. So we monitor these things. We check your current photo versus your driver's license. If it doesn't match, the system blocks you, you cannot go on a trip.
Okay, because then you know there are also some instances where people say that, oh, I requested a ride, and then the picture in the app is not the same person, and the person will give you an excuse as, oh, I'm just using the person's car for a while.
So that's what people use to commit a lot of crimes. So we found a way to sort of stop that. I mean, you cannot use someone else's account to drive, and this is a sort of an advice to passengers as well. Don't compromise in any way ever, because your safety is a risk. I mean. If you request for a car and it says a green Toyota and the car comes and it's a red Hyundai, you know there's something wrong. If you see the picture of the driver and then the person that comes is not the same person, you know there's something off. So in as much as Yango is putting up all these security features, the safety features and innovations to keep you safe, you also need to take care of yourself to a certain extent. So we meet you at a certain point, the rest is up to you. Because if you see a disparity in the car that you requested, the driver's face is not the same, and you still jump into that car, I mean, most of the time nothing will happen. But if something happens, I mean, you cannot...
You're also to blame, partly.
Yes. Now, on the driver side, which is...
for safety.
For safety. On the driver side, we have quite a lot as well for the drivers. Now we have the rider photo check as well. So it goes both ways. So the driver now also gets to see who's speaking. Right. Then we have what we call the alert zones. So there are certain zones in Accra that are marked as alert zones. So there are dangerous places in Accra. We all know some of the dangerous places in Accra where you cannot go at night. I mean, you go there at a certain level of risk. So we've marked these areas as alert zones, and the drivers have the opportunity to decline trips to these zones.
Right.
Now, the caveat here is this. some drivers will decline a trip even though it's not to an alert zone because for their own reasons, they don't want to go, they will leave you
Or it's
hanging
late,
and everything.
they're tired.
There are punishments to those ones because if you decline a trip that is not linked to an alert zone, that is not going to an alert zone, then you get punished for it.
Right.
But if you decline a trip that is going to an alert zone, you don't get punished for it.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. So that the driver also is very safe. Because, I mean, some people would request a trip and take you somewhere and then something's going to happen. So because we've identified and we've worked closely with the security agencies, with the police and all of that to identify these zones that, hey, these are hot zones. You don't go here at certain times of the day.
Okay.
So these drivers know that, okay, if once the request comes, you get to see in your driver app that this is an alert zone.
Okay. Do we have the, liberty to know what some of these alert zones are so that, if you are requesting to or from that zone, at whatever time of the night or maybe in the wee hours of the morning, and you don't get a Yango, you understand that it's because it's an alert zone?
I would refrain from mentioning specific names because some of these things are calculated with algorithms in the app as well.
Okay.
So, for instance, in the news, there are like 4 to 5 different crimes happening in this week in a particular area.
Okay.
Then, because we've had like partnerships with the police and all of that, we know these things. So it's configured in the app, and the app decides that, okay, you know what? Because of the nature of things happening in this area within a short space of time, it's not safe anymore at this time. Over the course of a year, 2 years, 3 years, if these things work out, then we can sort of limit how dangerous those zones are, right? But as it stands now, there are a couple of places that we mark as alert zones.
Okay. All right. Now let's talk about the Yango's involvement in creative arts, right? Really important because constantly it doesn't even have to be entertainment, right? Because I see it happen for churches as well.
Exactly.
Yango is always present, making sure that their brand awareness is on point, everything is on point, and also the commute is easy, to the venue or the event and from the event as well. What was the trigger for Yango to participate in these things and also one way or the other help or support Ghana's creative economy?
As I said, I mean, Yango is all about impact, right? So we support drivers, we support partners, we provide income generating opportunities and all of that. But when we look at Ghana, we realize that the creative arts industry is a big one. It's a vibrant one. Lots of young people are doing amazing things in different forms. We have musicians, we have comedians, we have content creators, we have all of these things. And we also have the churches, like the religious bodies as well. So, I mean, last year, Yango partnered with over 40 events, from church crusades to the Ramadan fasting, to the Eid, to lots of other programs. I mean, we sponsored Rapaholic, Zama Disco, Afro Future. All of these big events were there. Why do we do this? We do this because we want to contribute our quota, right? I mean, there are other projects that we do in terms of CSR, but we realize that the creative arts industry is a special one for Ghana, and it's very impactful to Ghanaians. Because, I mean, there's a lot of things happening in Ghana. A lot of people complain about economic hardships and everything, but the creative arts industry is making sure that, I mean, there's an ease on these burdens. When you watch your TV or you go for a show or you go on TikTok or Instagram and you see all these musicians and these actors and everybody in the creative arts space doing something, you get to laugh, you get to smile.
We are doing our best.
Exactly, you get to smile. So that inspires us to sort of support the industry as well, because it's a knock-on effect. Once we support the industry makes Ghanaians happy, our business will thrive as well.
It goes in and out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It will thrive as well. And then giving all these fans and Ghanaians the opportunity to go to these events, to and from the events safely and conveniently is good for us. I mean, imagine you go for a concert and it's 11 p.m. or 12 midnight and then you are stranded and you don't get a vehicle to go home. Or you get the vehicle and the price is ridiculous. Maybe you cannot afford it.
Yeah.
Or you get the vehicle is affordable and everything, but then you are not safe, right? So that's where we come in. So we support by sponsoring these events. We also support by providing safe, convenient, and affordable rides for everyone going to these events.
That's really nice, and we are grateful, especially with the creative arts. I can speak for the creative arts. It's nice to see that, you know, a ride-hailing, you know, service as Yango is front and center and present at all of these events to also ease commute. So yes, we are looking forward to Yango, you know, spreading its wings to other cities and towns in Ghana. So best of luck with that, and yeah. Thank you. That's all I can say, right?
Thank you.
Hopefully, Yango gets to, you know, that level, and it's, you know, it becomes that ride-hailing service, you know, as it's on the journey to becoming that, right? Especially, you know, with the widespread in Ghana. So yes, thank you so much, Bennet Otoo, who is the PRO at Yango. We appreciate it. We appreciate your coming, and thanks for digging into, you know, the app and breaking certain things down for us. We are grateful for that. This has been Unpacking. My name is Lerny Lomotey. You already know, your international TV and radio presenter living in Ghana at the moment. Serial takes over.